Hello everybody, welcome back to 10 Minute Reviews. I'm Jason, bringing you today's episode. I would show you guys my fuzzy co-star, but she is currently outside screaming into the ether. Don't know what bugged her today. Could have been a dust mote or just a random fly. So it's just going to be me today. And I'm bringing you today's video talking about book 2 of a series that we've talked about in the past. By the way, please hit the like and subscribe buttons, everybody. We appreciate all that support as we continue trying to give you guys new books and new authors and new things to check out. That's what we want to do. We just want to bring you guys stuff to entertain you. Hey, there's the fuzzy one. So I want to talk about 8-2. So it's a weird title, which makes it tough to talk about the sequel, but 8-2 by Samer Rabadi. And I'm going to skip the usual 4 categories I talk about, because I talked about that in when I reviewed the first book. So Book 2 is basically a direct sequel to Book 1. There's no real big time jump, but I wonder if he's eventually going to have to, I don't know, change the title of the books maybe, because obviously time does pass, so at a certain point the character's not going to be 8 years old anymore, so calling him 8, although since he's also turned that into his name, maybe not, but at the moment the character is still 8 years old, still living in a glen with Isikai, the spirit, but now has commenced to the point where the character needs to start integrating with society. And with the 2 children that he rescued in Book 1, he started learning the language. He still has his hidden talents and hidden abilities. I believe he's level 2 at this point, which makes him, technically by the laws of this particular land, an adult. So he goes to enter society, which is interesting in and of itself, the way it all ends up working out. He goes to the little village that's nearby that it turns out doesn't, I can't say worship the spirit that is protecting him and whose glen he lives in, but gives a yearly tribute and definitely defers to the spirit. Definitely looks at the spirit as both a guardian and an extremely powerful potential ally. So this time around now, 8 or Ali, as they enter society, they're trying to learn more about the world. They're trying to learn more about the litRPG type system that he's been exposed to, and the classes and the abilities that he's got, and the magic. He's still fascinated by magic, utterly fascinated by magic, so he's hoping that he's going to be able to learn more. So as he meets with this town, they do basically a ceremony that kind of maps him out and proves the things that he has told them, such as he's level 2, which makes him technically an adult and a very powerful adult. And what his abilities are, which he had some of them, but then he is offered almost like apprenticeships, with things he can do, organizations he can join. He's still technically part of the kingdom, so he doesn't have to pay taxes, stuff like that, ways to earn money, ways especially to learn. Now with his class that he got, Path of the Hunter, I believe it is, he's definitely or Path of the Forest, or something along those lines. But he's basically, kind of going down the line of a ranger almost. So he ends up joining the Hunters Lodge, Hunters Guild, basically. And Freya, what are you doing? And by choice, he at first they were almost going to force something upon him, but he did point out he's an adult, and was eventually allowed to make his choice, which he did. He ended up choosing to join the Hunters because of the abilities and the magic and things that they could offer. And again, this book is definitely still continuing to be a slice of life like the first one, only this one starts to focus much more on family. Much more on family and the growing family that 8 seems to be creating. Not just the spirit Ikfail, the little, as he calls him, Dr. Otter, but also the 2 children that he rescued that basically started calling him, for the most part, father, even though technically they're both older than him. I believe they're both 10 while he's 8, but being level 2, he is technically an adult while they are still level 0 children. Then you've got the widow that takes them in while they're in town, and then you've got his Hunter Lodge brothers and sisters, and some animals that he ends up meeting, monsters that he ends up killing, and monsters that he ends up saving and even taming. And he even meets a greater spirit that's even greater than Ikfail, the spirit that is protecting him. He's already met a god, so what are a couple of spirits in different levels? But this book starts to really explore more about the local area, starts to expand the world out away from the glen and the forest and some of the big bad monsters. It does touch upon the real big bad monster that he ran into and ran away from in the first book. But now he's entering a community. You've got a town. You've got different almost guilds. You've got a murder mystery that he gets to solve because one of his talents just happens to be seeing spirits. You can't talk to him because apparently there's some god level curse or protection or ward that prevents the dead from speaking to the living. But he wants to try and solve this murder. He's got a treasure he needs to find. He's got another treasure that he found in book 1 that he needs to figure out how to sell. He's got his magic that he needs to continue to learn, plus some new spells that he's really fascinated to try and learn. And just overall, he just continues to add. He continues to add so many different things, splitting his time between the glen, the town, learning, combat training, learning how to use his spear, learning how to use his bow, all these things that he thought he had figured out in the glen, thought he was really, really good at with his lifetime of experience from Earth. He has shown very quickly that some things he's good at, some things he's okay at, some things he just flat sucks at. He just gets by on talent, magical abilities, and skills, basically. So now he starts learning. He starts mastering the spirit. He starts seeing what can be done with the magic. And he still has a couple unique spells, which he also starts to develop some new ones over time, although they're not the best. So the overarching real plot, aside from the slice of life portion of this book, is the murder mystery that he needs to solve. That also kind of ties into the hunt for the king of the forest. This lightning imbued bear that's just almost god level powerful that they need to take down before it gets too powerful and can just destroy the town. So you've got these two overarching plots that start to intertwine with each other near the end. 8 is still the one that is continuing to try and solve both of them. Plus, of course, with the whole family thing, you've got the sentient fungus that lives within him that is also, turns out, adds to his power, can also manage the mana, the chi, the magical abilities, the runes, all of this stuff. They even eventually learn a way to meld their consciousnesses together, which just ends up building even more to the family. And overall, it's just a fascinating read, guys. Fascinating read. Just like book 1, I read this one cover to cover, one sitting, no pauses, no breaks. It's just absolutely fascinating. And then immediately went to try and find book 3, and it turns out there is no book 3, and I was very, 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 very mad. But book 2 just came out this year, so book 3 should be coming out eventually, and hopefully not too long. I didn't look at how long the gap was between 1 and 2 because I hate when I look that up and it turns out it's years. I'm hoping it's not. Hoping it's just months or a year at the most, so that I can look forward to book 3 sometime next year. If you guys like litRPGs, like slice of life, like any of this stuff, like any of the authors that we've talked about up to this point, you would probably absolutely love this series, love this book. So if you have not read 8, go check out book 1, 8 by Samer Rabadi. I'm sorry. If you have read book 1, weren't aware of it, book 2 is out. So after you hit the like and subscribe buttons, go check it out. 8-2 by Samer Rabadi. Thank you everybody for watching. We will catch you next time. Bye now.